Maine's Democratic governor is jumping in the race to unseat the Republican Senator Susan Collins. There you have it. Her pitch puts the focus squarely on President Trump.
There are too many politicians in Washington, including Susan Collins.
Susan Collins, we want to thank.
Who've forgotten their principles and let bullies like Trump have their way. And it's hurting Maine people. I've never backed down from a bully, and I never will.
The 77-year-old Mills would be the oldest freshman senator in history. But she has at least two major challengers in the Democratic primary, including military veteran and oyster farmer Graham Plattner. Plattner captured the hearts and the wallets of progressives, including Bernie Sanders. He's been seen in town, crowds, big crowds, liberal strongholds on the coast of rural Maine. He says Mills entering the race doesn't change much for him.
I've gone around the state now from Portland all the way to Madawaska, from Rumford to Calais, and it is the same story everywhere you go. They're very angry about the fact that the system has brought them to this point, that we are living in a system that has given them no choices but to struggle daily. And they look at our politics, they look at our politicians, and they see something that doesn't in any way, shape, or form represent them.
My smart reporters are back here. This is going to be, I think, the most fascinating Senate race in 2026. Two dynamics here. One is who's going to be the Democratic candidate. But two, why are they running? They're running to unseat Susan Collins. And just to give you a sense of how hard it's been to get rid of this Republican, even though it's a blue state. In 2020, Collins won by 51%. In 2016, I mean, it was a total blowout. And now she's up again. Carl, you have spent countless hours with the senator and focusing on this race. What do you think?
Susan Collins has been underestimated multiple times by Chuck Schumer, who has kind of made it almost a religion to try and knock her out of there. So we'll see what happens. But I think Susan Collins would like to run against the governor because the governor has a record, right? And running against these novices without records can be tricky. The governor has also said good things about Susan Collins.
Well, they're friends.
Right. Maine is kind of like that political family. Susan Collins is the chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee. She gets to bring a lot of goodies to Maine.
Assuming the appropriation system works.
Well,
go ahead.
You still get to do something. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough to knock her out, but obviously it's a midterm. There's a lot of pushback to Trump. I think Janet Mills will make this about Trump, not about Susan Collins.
And so now to the dynamic inside the Democratic Party, because the reason that Mills is running is because Chuck Schumer, the Democratic leader, has been trying to recruit the people he thinks are the best candidates to overturn seats, and he thinks that's Janet Mills. Dan Pfeiffer, who worked for Barack Obama and also worked in the Senate, said the following. In 2020, Democrats ran an establishment politician against Collins and got their asses kicked. Mills would likely run a better campaign than Sarah Gideon, who was that nominee. But at the same time, when voters hate politicians, are down on Democrats, and are yearning for younger leaders, is a 77-year-old two-term incumbent governor really the best choice?
Yeah, I mean, if you ask about what were the lessons that Democrats learned from 2024, it is that American Democrats want somebody who is able to accurately express what they're feeling and have it come off as honest and transparent across all mediums. That includes social media. They want somebody from a younger generation, and they want somebody who fundamentally believes that they believe understands what they are going through. And so if you look at Janet Mills, is that candidate? I think a lot of young people in the state potentially would question that. Of course, this is what Chuck Schumer wants, and he is leading the Democratic Party right now, and so therefore he kind of gets what he wants. This is a big win for him specifically, but she's not clearing the field. And I think, she already told NBC News that she would just be a one-term senator. That sounds a lot like Joe Biden. He didn't actually say those words, but certainly his advisor said it. And so, is the method of going the Joe Biden way right now the best after 2024? I'm not quite sure a lot of Democrats would agree.
Schumer wants the seat. He thinks that Mills is the best way to get it. And then you have the sort of Bernie Sanders wing of the party, which of course supports Plattner. And this is a dynamic that we have seen in other potential matchups in other states where the Senate is going to be hanging in a balance.
For sure. And this is going to be one of the most fascinating races, there's no doubt, because of the incumbents. She will be the most vulnerable. However, to Carl's point, Susan Collins has withstood many races before. Age is one issue, there's no doubt, but Bernie Sanders is endorsing Plantner in this as well. So age, I'm not sure, is the only thing in Maine.
It's
because
establishment.
but people have a strong connection with her in Maine. But I think beyond that, ideology sort of writ large. Look at the Michigan primary as well. Look at the Maine primary now. We're going to learn a lot about what Democrats believe the direction of the party should be. We'll get our first sort of hint of that next month in Virginia and New Jersey and New York, and we will get sort of a sense of that. But in Maine, I think it's such a small state, to Carl's point. It is really a place that television ads are not going to probably win this race. It's going to be how it evolves and how the ideology evolves. But it's going to be fascinating to see Susan Collins probably in the toughest race of her life, but she's won them before.
Susan Collins, makes it a point to meet people from Maine who come here. They all get their picture taken with her. She's going to be tough to knock off.